As someone who grew up watching teen shows and remembering the shift to more scripted dramas like My Life is Liz, Teen Wolf, Misfits, Awkward, and Skins, I was constantly looking for other forms of media. When I found the documentary American Teen back in 2009, I instantly fell in love with it. Taking the filmmaker 10 months to shoot and 1 year to edit because she accumulated 1,000 hours of footage, this movie reached moderate critical success. It even won the directing award at the 2008 Sundance Film Festival. For some odd reason, after Paramount Vantage picked up the documentary for distribution, they decided to screen it in theaters. Not surprisingly, the film only made $1 million despite the $5 million budget. Loosely, or maybe I should say heavily, inspired by the famous 1985 Brat Pack film The Breakfast Club, American Teen focuses on 5 teens living out their senior year in the small conservative town of Warsaw, Indiana. After asking over 100 schools and only receiving 10 responses and interviewing dozens of students, the director, Bernstein, finally settled on Warsaw Community High School. Following numerous students but only showing 5 in the film, the director chose the students who matched up to the main characters of The Breakfast Club. The director chose Hannah, aka the Free Spirit, Colin, aka the Jock, Megan, aka the Princess, Mitch, aka the Heartthrob/Rebel, and Jake, aka the Geek. The documentary follows their senior year of high school as they navigate things like romance, friendships, and deciding on their next steps into adulthood.
I will own the school.
I'll own the school. I've always owned the school.
When Megan is first introduced, she's known around the school as the popular bitchy princess.
Through high school, I've heard she is the biggest bitch.
She's also the richest student in their town. From the first scene, it's clear that Megan, her best friend Jeff, and Allie are not the greatest people. Even though she constantly denies it, it's clear that she has romantic feelings for her best friend Jeff, but he doesn't feel the same.
Even though Jeff's not my boyfriend, I look at Jeff with girls and it's just weird. Dude, Jeff is like a brother and I get jealous.
One night, Jeff and her friend Erica decided to go on a boat and do some extracurricular activities. Megan and Allie watch from a distance, which is weird in itself, and call her everything under the sun but a child of God. Days later, Erica decides to send a topless picture to Jeff and her other friend. Of course, the photo spread like wildfire to the point where the photo had its own website, and even Megan's dad saw it. On camera, Megan and Allie prank call her and bully her, talking about her body.
Not only are you a slut, but you're also dumb.
And even calling back to leave a voicemail to tell her not to unalive herself.
Okay, we'll leave her a message telling her not to kill herself. Life will get better.
This is literally her first plot line in the documentary. Like, I'm not even joking. When Megan doesn't get her way of getting an Oriental prom theme, which is... Anyway, she decides to TP the student's house who won the vote. She TP'd her classmate's house and wrote homophobic slurs, and once again, all of this was on camera. In the next few days, the school starts to figure out who vandalized the student's house. When Megan calls her dad, he basically doesn't care that she did a messed up thing, but only called her dumb because she got caught.
This was stupid, Megan. More stupid if you can't do it and not get caught.
The school talks to her and tells her that usually students get suspended because of the slur, but she only gets banned from the prom council. This girl had the nerve to say,
Vandalizing happens every weekend in Warsaw. It really is just unfair that I'm being punished so much.
"This is what I'm saying. This girl is atrocious." That is literally her only takeaway from the situation. When it came to her home life, it was clear that her and her family are high achievers. When she told her dad her SAT score went up 70 points, he said it would have been better if she went up 100 points. Megan is a legacy rich kid whose entire family attended Notre Dame, but it's clear that she stresses all the time if she'll get in. On a side note, am I the only one that's like, girl, you're wealthy, your dad and your siblings got in. Basically, she can have a 2.1 GPA and still get in because, money and legacy talks. Her story does take a more deeper approach when Megan starts talking about her older sister Sarah, who seemed to have a learning disability. Due to the stress of college and everyday life, Sarah unalived herself 2 years prior to when the documentary was filmed. Megan's parents believe that she feels guilty because Megan and Sarah were never close, and Megan sort of regrets that. Her parents also go on to say that they see the rage in her sometimes.
It was definitely the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
What I find interesting about Megan is that she has seen what stress and depression can do to someone, but then she decides to bully Erica and even participate in sharing her picture to dozens of students. Even when she talks about the Erica situation to the camera, she doesn't seem to show any remorse, and she actually kind of smirks when she talks about it. Megan's friends talk about her and believe that she's changed towards the middle end of the documentary because she's suddenly being nice and sweet.
Recently,
It's different.
yeah.
Megan's kind of more open and honest.
Sometimes Megan surprises me. She'll do something really sweet or nice, you know. It's like, wow, this is different.
She finally gets her letter from Notre Dame, and of course she gets in. When Allie and Jeff, her two best friends, decide to start dating each other, Megan clearly becomes jealous, saying that she's uncomfortable with them being close to each other. When Jeff confronts her, Megan denies that she said anything to Allie, even though on camera she said she doesn't like it. Jeff calls her out for being jealous, and she slaps him and kicks him out.
Listen up, you ass. I don't want you here.
Later, all her friends discuss Megan and agree that since she got into Notre Dame, she reverted back to her old self again and has been on a power trip.
Sorry what I did would make you mad, but I'm not sorry for what I did.
I'm not taking this anymore, you know?
They both agree to stop talking to her, and Megan says that everyone disappointed her. When it came to Megan and her friend group, when they decided to cut her off at the end, it was obvious that their friendship was based on status and proximity opposed to actually liking each other. Every scene that showed them hanging out together showed how they really didn't like each other. When it comes to Megan as a person, I'm gonna put this the most polite way as possible, but she was trash and I blame her parents. When she got in trouble for TPing someone's house, her dad was more irritated that she got caught and not that she actually did it. I remember at the beginning of the documentary, Megan said that she can't get in trouble her senior year because she has to remain focused. This tells me that she's always been like this and getting in trouble has always been a pattern for her. Even the way she talked to her dad is insane.
You asshole.
That's not the way you talk to your father.
My life sucks right now. But what if it's even worse after high school?
Quickly shown as the quintessential band super geek, Jake has a tiny number of friends. With his storyline, it seemed like his only goal senior year was to get a girlfriend. Because he plays a lot of video games, he admits that he wants to get the girl at the end like they do in the games. After meeting a freshman in band class, Jake asks Lauren out on a date. He admits that he only stands a chance with her because she doesn't know anyone or anything yet. He basically sees her as naive to his social status.
She just moved here, so she hardly knows anyone at all. So I actually might have a chance with her.
We then get a montage of them spending time together for the next few weeks. When Mike, the popular guy in band, starts to like Lauren, she slowly starts to become more and more uninterested in Jake. When her mom asks if people would pick on him with a bad haircut, Lauren says,
You think people are gonna make fun of him at school with his haircut so short? You know, no one notices him.
while hanging out at a football game, a friend tells Jake that Lauren is cheating on him with Mike, but of course she denies it. What's crazy is that her cheating was literally caught on camera, but I guess. Days later, she breaks up with him and tells him that she didn't get a chance to get to know people before they started dating. I love that she caught on to what he was trying to do and broke up with him. His tactic was kind of creepy and a little bit desperate if you ask me. He went for her because she was naive and new to high school, and he used that to his advantage. I do want to add that she is definitely wrong for cheating though.
There's a lot of grease on the table now, because I put my face on it.
Jake does move on and asks out a girl named Jackie for homecoming. When I tell you the dinner scene was extremely painful to watch, that is an understatement.
I just thought it'd be fun to ask you last minute, because we're a lot alike, you know? We have a lot of same interests. We both suck at life.
Once he said that, it was clear that Jackie became instantly uninterested in him. It was like written all over her face. One thing I noticed about Jake was that he was always so damn mopey and self-loathing. At homecoming, Jackie tries to get him to dance, but he'd rather sit there and look sad. For prom, Jake invites a girl named Leslie, who he met in San Diego at his brother's wedding. What confuses me is that I never understood what the big deal was just going to prom with your friends or by yourself. For some reason, Jake makes it a point that it is required to have a date. They go to prom and they seem to really like each other. After spending 4 days together, Jake swears that he might be in love and that he hopes that they last. What makes Jake so frustrating to watch is that he's not a nerd because he likes video games or because he's in band. The issue is that he's always so negative to himself and others. Like, don't get me wrong, self-loathing is common for a lot of people, but damn, can you do it in moderation like the rest of us? I remember in my high school, the band kids were nowhere near nerdy, but I understand how every school has a different social structure. I am also going to give him grace because most teens are moody and dramatic about their circumstances anyway. Before I continue, I want to give a shout out to my non-existent sponsor, McDonald's.
Colin Clemens is the star of the team, which means he's second only to Jesus in Warsaw.
Known to be friendly and sweet, Colin was a basketball star who was actually pretty popular. On the team, he's the go-to guy for scoring, so the team depends on him a lot. To add on to pressure, he needs a basketball scholarship because he can't afford to go to college.
And the stakes are really high for me because I'm relying on this season to get a college scholarship for basketball. I can't pay for it, and
Colin always felt a lot of pressure with basketball because his dad was a star athlete who everyone thought was going to make it big too. With most of their interactions, it was obvious that his dad was living vicariously through him. Colin even expressed that basketball wasn't his passion, but he grew to love it. When Colin brought up his parents paying for college, they told him that they just don't have it and that not everyone goes to college. His dad even pushes him to join the army, but he rejects it.
If you got A's and B's, we'd be getting scholarships.
I do, Dad.
You should have got all A's. You're a smart kid.
Yep.
Could have been a cook in the Army.
As the school year is almost over, Colin is getting worried because he has not received a scholarship yet. After winning an important game, a recruiter finally becomes interested. Luckily, Colin receives a full ride to Indiana Tech, and at the end, his father tells him how proud he was of him.
I tell you today, did I tell you how proud I am? I know I get on you all the time. I just don't want you to miss on all you can be.
One thing about Colin's part in the documentary is that I wish they dug a little bit deeper into his goals, passions, and even dreams. In one scene, he does mention wanting to be a comedian, but it's unclear if he was joking with his friends or being serious about his aspiration.
Like, I want people to remember me after I die. I don't want to have just lived for nothing and work some 9-to-5 shit job.
Narrating the film from the very beginning, Hannah, who is my favorite, is first described as different, strange, alternative, and artistic. Because her mother has manic depression and her father moved away for work, she has lived with her grandmother for a few years. Even though she has a best friend named Clark, at the beginning, she is closest to her boyfriend Joel, who she's been with for 2 years. She describes their relationship as unique compared to other high school relationships because they're really actually in love. But sadly, 5 minutes into the documentary, Joel breaks up with Hannah right after they become intimate for the first time. She asked if he had feelings for her afterwards, and he said no. This part was sad to watch because what Joel did was pretty fucked up and heartbreaking to see.
I'm so in love with him. I just can't stop being in love with him.
Because of her recent breakup, Hannah stopped going to school for weeks. She doesn't want to see Joel, and it's clear that the breakup damaged her self-esteem. She starts to get into her head so much that she begins to think that she's suffering from manic depression just like her mom. Because of her breakup, she misses 17 days of school. Her school counselor tells her that if she misses any more days, she'll not receive credit for her classes.
I don't want people asking what's wrong with me. I don't want to start crying in front of people.
When her dad comes back to town, he tries to push her to go and even tries to drop her off at school, but Hannah refuses.
Come on. If there's any possibility, I want to give it a try.
When Hannah finally returns to school, she realizes it's not as bad as she thought it would be. While performing for a school talent show, Mitch, who is a basketball player and close friends with Colin, realizes that Hannah is amazing.
Hannah Bailey. 4 years, and I have never met Hannah Bailey.
He says that he never noticed her till that moment, and we see that they quickly grow close. Mitch admits that he can be his silly, goofy self with her, and it's refreshing to him. Hannah does wonder, though, why such a popular guy wants to be with her, but she likes him too. She even starts to wear his clothes to school, and people notice.
There's so many girls that would give their left boob to, go on a date with him.
When Megan and her friends are talking about the Mitch and Hannah situation, they say that he likes to quote-unquote try new things, and they don't see it being anything serious because Mitch often succumbs to peer pressure.
Him and Hannah, I think it's really cute, Do I think it's gonna go anywhere? I don't know.
When Hannah accompanies Mitch to his friend's party, it's clear that she doesn't vibe with them. After spending some time there, Hannah asks if they could just go and hang out together, but he says he wants to stay with his friends. Days later, Mitch texts her and tells her that they should stop seeing each other and just remain friends. The only reason I side-eye Mitch is that I question his intentions. My off-the-wall theory about Mitch is that he just wanted to be in this documentary. Cause you're telling me throughout the 4 years of high school that you've known her, all of a sudden Hannah catches your eye when the camera is rolling? Especially because it seems like Hannah has always been true to herself throughout the entirety of high school. Then he conveniently breaks it off at the very end of their senior year right before graduation and the documentary ends. I could be wrong, but I can also be right. Throughout the documentary, Hannah made it clear that her dream was to move to LA and attend San Francisco State for film. Her grandma and dad felt like Hannah wasn't being realistic and told her that she's not going to get everything she wants.
You're not always going to get exactly what you want. You're not special.
After prom, Hannah decides to officially move to California and gain residency first for a year so she can pay in-state tuition. Her grandma and dad keep trying to persuade her to stay, but Hannah knows what she wants. When it comes to Mitch, even though he's on the movie's poster, I didn't have much to add to his individual story outside of Hannah because basically he didn't have a story. At the end of the documentary, they all graduate and head off to college. In the final shot, we see Hannah finally making it to LA. When it comes to authenticity, this film was questioned numerous times. Many scenes seem suspiciously staged. Why would Megan, the most popular girl in school, allow herself to be photographed spreading toilet paper on the lawn and spray painting a slur on the house window of a classmate? Is she really that unaware? She's the subject of disciplinary action in the film. Why didn't she tell school officials that she only did it for the movie? Questions like this do constantly come up, and they are fair in their reluctance. Some scenes and storylines do seem and feel too good to be true. Another thing that made people question the authenticity of this documentary is that years after it was released, Jake admitted that the director pretty much forced him to focus on dating and looking for love, and she told him if he didn't make that like his storyline, he would be removed from the documentary. What I love about this documentary is that even though it takes place in a white conservative town, it has so many themes that are relatable to almost everyone's high school experience. Whether you just wanted a boyfriend or girlfriend, you're going through a rough breakup, you've been bullied by the popular kids, you feel pressure from your parents, or you feel like you've always never fit in. There is something for everybody in this documentary, and that's why I think it resonates with me so much even till today. Even though this film wasn't a commercial success, I personally think American Teen is truly a hidden gem. Currently, Colin is married and he is a physical education teacher at the same elementary school he attended in Warsaw, Indiana. Currently, Hannah does photography as a steady job, and she also does small roles in indie films, but I couldn't find anything of the last 5 years that she starred in. The latest thing I can find about Megan is that she is married, and when it comes to her work in 2017, she was a recruiting coordinator for a consulting firm. When it comes to Mitch, he owns his own practice with another doctor, and he is an optometrist in Warsaw, Indiana. Last thing I've seen about Jake is that he is married with kids and is currently a manager at Amazon. Yes, I do feel like a stalker because I was on these people's LinkedIn, but it is what it is. I found them. So I want to say thank you for watching this video. Let me know what you think and if you remember this documentary, because I feel like I'm the only one that remembers it. Please let me know what you think, your opinions on them. Bye.